grab your stim packs and slap on your Pip-Boy, because in this episode, Lawerence is going to the wastelands.
Welcome to Lore Party, the podcast that explores the stories, characters, and universes behind some of our favorite video games. I'm Lawerence.
And I'm Jaden.
And today, we're going to talk about my experience playing Fallout for the very first time. Fallout 4, to be more specific.
Now, Lawerence, you've never had any experience with the lore before you started playing these games, correct?
Nope, I've had absolutely no experience with Fallout. I missed the mark completely.
Really?
Yeah, so I decided to jump on in and go straight to Fallout 4.
It's not a bad place to start. I've always been partial to 3 or New Vegas myself, but what were your first initial thoughts when you stepped out of the vault?
I really didn't know what to expect from this game. It's weird, especially when you're like watching the beginning Vault Tech videos, and it's about surviving in a wasteland, but they're using a cartoon character. So I kind of felt like I was gonna get like a funny and less kind of serious, video game play. But it was kind of crazy. Like the world is like super vast, and I feel like you really don't know what you're gonna run into.
That's kind of the beauty of the game, and they're able to mix and match that craziness so well. I just love seeing like the whimsical feel mixed with the horrible, brutal violence that you seem to run into whenever you play that game.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like the game just starts off with you experiencing the
end.
Yeah, like just this like whole nuclear like apocalypse, and then you're like thrown right into like the meat of the game. Kind of like going through and exploring, like scavenging and having no idea what I'm doing. It's cool. Like, I kind of feel like a stranger in a strange land.
Ah, yes.
Ah, yes. Yeah, that's where What I really liked about this game initially was the first like thing that's living that you find is your old robot butler.
Yeah, Codsworth.
And I appreciate finding Codsworth first, because Codsworth, like so far in the game, for where I'm at, I've done a few missions and I've built a few things.
How many hours do you think you played?
Probably maybe like 8 hours.
8 hours? That's nothing.
Actually not 8 hours. I'm sorry. I've played this longer than 8 hours. I don't know.
I was gonna say that's like a mission.
I don't know. I lose track of playing video games sometimes, so it's probably been it's been a good amount of time.
I judge you, but I'm also the guy who's got like 200 hours instead of 5. So.
Oh well. But I like Codsworth has been the companion that I've kept with me the most, and like to me, I feel like in this game, Codsworth is kind of symbolic of like he's like the protector. Which is funny because on the outside, he's like a goofy robotic.
He's a cherry old butler.
Yeah, he's the goofy robotic British butler guy. But like, you got to look at it. He helped you raise your son. He waited for you for 200 years.
Yes. And then it was happy to see you.
Right.
If I had to wait 200 years before like my old friend showed up, like I've like waited on a friend who's like 15 minutes late and I've been pissed at them. I can't imagine 200 years.
And yeah, 200 years waiting for you. And he even says at one part of the game, like after he had been my companion for a while, he was like, hey, I waited, and he's like, I know that you couldn't take me with you, and I completely forgive you for that. And he was like, I was just waiting to see if I would see you or the missus or your son or even your son's kids. Like, he was waiting for someone that was connected to you somehow to come back because he considers you family. And so, like, I think that's what, like, makes... God. Even though, like, Codsworth is a robot, and there are several robots like Codsworth that are just roaming around.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what kind of makes Codsworth unique. Like, he's much more than that. He's the only piece of family that you have left while you're out here searching for your son.
See, this is going to be kind of sad, but I never really used Codsworth whenever I play through the games because I'm like, I really don't care about a robot assistant. Now that you've told me that, that makes me very sad because I literally abandoned him again. I just leave him in Sanctuary Hill and don't care about him.
Oh God, I use Codsworth all the time. Like he's actually been the only companion that I've used because like Codsworth is awesome.
No, he's great.
Like I consider him the protector because like the second you go into a mission with him, he's usually the one that attacks first.
See, now, do you play as stealth?
No.
Okay, see, that's it. Because, like, I always play as a stealth character, so, like, Codsworth just going, cheerio, and running into battle would be a huge pain in the butt for me.
Oh, God, no. Codsworth has saved my butt through missions several times. And, you know, he's very invested in, like, helping you find your son. So when you start to, when I started to get to the part where I'm experiencing more of, like, the different factions in Fallout 4 that are like, you know, outside of the Minutemen initially. Yeah. Like I've only experienced one other faction. I should put that.
Who have you encountered?
Oh, it's the good one, the one that everybody loves, the Brotherhood of Steel.
Oh, the Brotherhood of Steel at Victorium.
So I've done like 1.5 kind of Brotherhood of Steel missions.
So now, have you encountered the main Brotherhood faction yet?
I have only encountered Paladin
Dance.
Yes, Paladin Dance. Yes, and
it'll be interesting seeing what you think of the bigger guys when they come along because they have a very, very interesting thing. But we'll get to that in a second. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh no worries. But yeah, Paladin. I did a mission with Paladin Dance, and like once you get I had to get like some radio thing. It was like the first time I encountered synths.
Oh, the radio dish.
Yeah. And I had to fight all the synths and stuff. So when you get everything and you go up the elevator and you know you're having like your hey, do you want to join my faction talk? Codsworth is like, hey, you know, their technology is probably going to be crucial in helping us locate young Sean, your son. So, like, he, even through all of this, like, we're going into this building, we're fighting these crazy robots, you know, we're in the apocalypse, and the only thing that he's focused on is, like,
protecting Sean.
Yeah, helping Sean and protecting you, like, making sure that, like, because to you, or I guess to Codsworth, like, you're his only family. So he's like, make sure you're safe. Like,
wow.
He is honestly the ultimate companion.
We could even do a whole episode on Codsworth, I think.
Oh yeah,
that's crazy because like I said, I never used Codsworth because I was like, oh, he's just a robot, and I didn't realize how self-aware he was to the point where he considers you his family, and I'm like, oh God, I was such a jerk to him. I was just the guy who left him in a vault for 200 years.
No, I mean,
or outside of the vault, excuse me.
He's cool, and I mean, I don't know. For me, I guess at least he's always been the one companion that's present when like I'm encountering like the factions, like when I ran into the Minutemen in the beginning. Like he was there and he helped me get through the that first God, when you're inside of the when you go to the first town and you have to go into the hall and you have to stop the raiders from like getting pressed in. And even when I had the power armor on, when I get it at the end of the mission and I'm jumping down and you know you're just like you feel like Iron Man just tearing through all of these raiders. Codsworth is still there, like, doing his part. He's even, like, fighting the Deathclaw with me. So I'm like, I felt like I was like, I'm obligated to keep using you, and he gives you purified water all the time.
See, this is like a sales pitch for why I'm an idiot for not using Codsworth, because I didn't even know about the purified water thing. Yeah, that's amazing.
If you talk to him...
That's free health.
Yeah, if you talk to him, he gives you purified water. Like, he is the ultimate protector. He believes in drinking more water, and he's, like... dead set on like keeping you alive and finding your son. So far in the game, number one companion.
Well, have you encountered any other companions yet?
Yes. So I have 2 other companions right now.
Okay.
Preston and the dog. I guess technically 3 companions because I'm pretty sure I have Paladin Dance.
Yep.
Because I haven't done any more Brotherhood of Steel missions. But I've used the dog for a little bit, and so far I haven't used Preston at all, but I just leave him at the sanctuary.
That's a good choice. Preston is probably my least favorite companion because he will as the game progresses, he will follow you, and then he will just give you more quests.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, the lore behind the Minutemen is that they are supposed to help protect the Commonwealth, but it really feels like the Commonwealth should be able to protect itself sometimes, because he will literally send you to the same outpost every single time. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't have time. I have to find my son.
You know, you get the whole after you've helped with them for a little bit, and you've done your first like Minuteman mission. Preston is like, hey, I'm the like last active Minuteman because everybody's either dead or they've given up because of the massacre. When like the remaining, I guess the Minutemen that aren't active now decided that they were just gonna like abandon that town, but Preston is like, okay, so I want you to lead the Minutemen, and you're going to take the position of general. But then I'm
going to be giving you all of your assignments.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, why I'm just kind of like, so far in the game, I'm like, I respect the idea of the Minutemen, but I don't necessarily respect the Minutemen.
Yep.
It's interesting, like so far, like dealing with the Minutemen versus the Brotherhood of Steel, and like the little bit of experience I've had working with both of them. It's funny because like when Paladin Dance invites you in, he's like, "Hey, I'm you're gonna be working under me, but like here are all the perks of being of being part of the Brotherhood of Steel." It's like you work directly under me, but you get your own power armor. Like, you're part of the cause. You're helping us figure out why technology, we're trying to help us figure out technology, basically, so we don't screw ourselves again.
I was going to ask, what do you think the big reason that the Brotherhood is here into the Commonwealth? As someone who has never played the game, doesn't know any of the bigger lore.
Actually, that was something I was curious about, because I remember the mission, like the first mission, and he mentions that there were like 2 other groups that have come through beforehand, and he's like, yeah, this one group did this thing, and this other group did another thing, and I was mad because I kind of missed what he said. I missed it because like right then someone started talking to me, but and I was like, but like that I was interested because he was like, yeah, we're not the first Brotherhood of Steel to come through here. And then when you're like reading his logs in the police station, he's like talking about how like they have encountered all these super mutants and like a bunch of members of his team have died. And then he's like, I would recommend that this place is just like gets bombarded if we're able to do that in the future.
Yeah. No.
And so I'm like,
which is horrifying because
that's your home.
It's you. He's like, these people are terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, buddy, how's it going, Lawerence?
And
don't read my diary.
And it's funny because like you like they've had these other groups, and the other groups did not seem like they were there for the same reason as him. So it's like, hey man, you know what? We've lost 2 groups. Let's send in like Johnny Hardass over here, who's like only cares about. He really is like, I guess he would be the man for the job if everybody else failed, because he's the only person I feel like that is laser focused on completing the job. Because like you also read his logs, and he has the one person on his team that stepped on the mine.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, I'm blanking on everybody's names, but the one girl that's in the group, he's like, he says to her like, hey, give him a lethal dosage of painkiller, basically. Just put him down.
Yep.
And then she's like, okay, like he's the kind of guy that's like scary serious.
Yeah. No, he was like, this guy will slow us down. Let's get rid of him because it's all for the Brotherhood.
And it was like, we're doing this in the humane way because it's painkiller, but it's like we're giving him a lot of it.
Yeah, we're killing this guy. We're killing our comrade.
And then they like just are like, yeah, we're gonna hey, kudos to that lady for doing this without any hesitation at all. And like even when you're in the police station with him, and they have the one guy who was shot and he was injured, and she just makes the joke about like, oh, you look pretty bad. Maybe we should just put you down. I was like, this team, I get how you guys operate now.
Which, it's really funny because the first time I heard that joke, I was like, oh, look at them, they're pals. And you read the log, it's like, no, she wasn't kidding. She will kill him. Without hesitation.
When I played through, I read the logs first, and then she said that, so I was like, I was like, I don't know if she's joking with him now. I was like, that's weird.
On the surface, the Brotherhood, they seem like they're good guys, but like you always just get the feeling that there's something a little off with them.
Yeah, like they have the whole basically prevent people from making mistakes kind of vibe to them. So like
Which always goes well. Anytime you set out to stop people from making a mistake,
it's normally you make a bigger mistake. And so that's why I guess like I'm curious to continue to play through more, because like I want to kind of see where they fall, because like I honestly feel like Paladin Dance is the kind of person that he basically is the human person, or he's the personification of the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
he is the Brotherhood of Steel distilled down into one man.
Yeah.
His mission is to do this. He is a soldier down to step one. He has to complete the objectives in step for him, get the technology, keep it out of the hands of the savages. It is for the Brotherhood. It is not for anyone else. They can't be trusted with it. I can be trusted with it because I was born into the Brotherhood and I will die in the Brotherhood. They started out as hard-ass military guys who don't let anybody else in. Then they kind of got softened as the games got through. And then with Fallout 4, they were like, no, we're going to go back to the hard-asses.
And honestly, it's funny because like there's like a kind of real world quality to it, so I think that's what keeps me interested in that. Mm-hmm. And I love the contrast between them and the Minutemen. The Minutemen are just like, hey, we're here to help, and like helping is like 100% good, but it's like you also have to look at like, hey, all you guys are either dead or like stopped being Minutemen.
Look where helping has gotten you.
Right, so you're
dead.
So you all honestly can't be like, hey, one of you guys is better than the other one, which is like one thing that I think I'm like getting to. One thing I'm really enjoying about this game. So like even kind of going back to like exploring the wasteland, and when you run into the situations where it's like, hey, I'm stopping like two groups of people from massacring each other because I keep Codsworth as my companion, and like now I'm pretty much, after he told me he considered me family, and then I was like, yeah, you're my family too. I was like, God, I can't do anything wrong in front of this guy now. It's gonna be like, I was like, I feel bad. There was a part of the game where I actually kept playing it like over and over and over again so I could resolve an issue, because I was like, I can't have Codsworth hate me.
Yeah, but you also kind of want to see what happens.
Right. There was like, I think one of my favorite experiences so far was the Judy who owns the diner that's like a trading post.
Yeah, Judy's Post, yeah.
And her son that was addicted to Jet, and like the guys that were coming to collect money. I had to persuade her to put her gun down and just pay these guys the money for her son. And it was funny because Codsworth is like right behind me the whole time. And when you're like, hey,
his mechanical eye just staring right into your soul.
Right, and like you get the notifications like, hey, Codsworth loved this, when you're like, hey, pay these people, just pay the people the money, and like, let's not have any violence here. But then if you're like, I can help you take out those guys, Codsworth absolutely hates it. Yeah, he's like, no, this isn't the person that I knew beforehand.
See, it's funny. You're gonna encounter this companion soon, but like when I'm having her with me, she loves it when I'm like, all right, let's kill these people. She's like, all right, now we're gonna fight. And I'm like, I like you. I'm gonna have you stick around.
Yeah, like I mean, and like, I might eventually change up my companions, but for now, Codsworth is that guy. As like, I'm new to this game, I'm exploring. Like I'm getting acclimated to Fallout. Codsworth is that guy that keeps you balanced, so you're not doing like too much of the crazy, and in some ways not too much of the good, because Codsworth will still back you up if someone tries to.
I was gonna say,
get you.
He won't be able to look at you in the eye at dinner afterwards, but he'll help you kill those guys.
Oh yeah, like I dig him. I dig him. That's my dude. That I think like even if I pick somebody else, that'll forever be my one of my favorite parts of Fallout, I guess, at least right now.
Well, speaking of robotic companions that you have, what do you think about the synths?
That was that was interesting. Because I had just played a mission before that with another robot. So like I I was experiencing like robot overloads in Fallout by the time I got to the synths already, and I was just like, this is creepy because they kind of just appear in one room and they're like falling all over the place and shooting at you.
Yeah.
So it's cool you get a laser weapon, but like it freaked me out because it was like a human mannequin robot
with gears sticking out everywhere.
Right, just shooting at you, and you're like, okay, and like I was happy that I had Paladin Dan and Codsworth, or Dance and Codsworth, because like he was just like shoot to kill, and Codsworth's like, I'm gonna make sure you're safe. So like, okay, this isn't as scary, but this is still pretty.
You had
like,
your mom and your dad on that mission with you.
basically, it was like the parental figures, like, don't worry, son, sit down, we got this for you. We'll take care of your problems today.
Oh, Billy's been talking shit. I'll go kill him.
Right, like it was. that's a good way to put it. I was like, oh my god, please save me, guys.
And oh god, I can remember so many times with just the companions that I'm surprised. I can't wait. Have you made it to Diamond City yet?
No,
Okay.
I have not. It's on my radar. I have just done. I've done a few Minutemen missions and then some faction stuff, and I'm currently just like fortifying Sanctuary. Just Sanctuary, yeah.
Yeah, just Sanctuary.
Sanctuary.
I want to call it Sanctuary Hill, but that's not what it is.
I was going to call it Sanctuary City, but I'm like, that's not a city.
Not yet, anyways. We'll get it there.
That is like a rundown neighborhood. But I'm like fortifying it, and I'm making sure like people can get in there safe and everything. So
yeah. I was just say because there's so much I wanted to. The reason I wanted to ask is because there's so much. It's very interesting seeing your perspective on it without having like played through the entire game yet, which is going to take you a long time. But just seeing you bright-eyed and bushy-tailed about this universe is kind of cool because I'm just like, oh, you sweet child. You don't know what's in store.
Yeah, I'm happy after the nuke. This is about as happy as someone can be after like the nuclear apocalypse.
You're just like, yep, okay, this is gonna work. I'll pick up a baseball bat.
All right. I mean, I was playing it today. I spent like an hour, or actually way more than that, probably like close to 3 hours, just like fortifying. I got like lost in fortifying that town. But like I'm excited to get back out there. There's like at first when I did the first Minuteman mission, and I was like, oh my god, this is kind of annoying. But once I got through that and I started doing other stuff in the game, it just became so interesting because there is so much that's going on all at the same time. Like not to go like too far off, but I was doing another mission and I came across 3 other potential missions.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't stop doing this right now. I'm following somebody, but I'm like, I kind of want to stop and do this stuff. And that is like I think one of my absolute favorite things about Fallout now is that like other games are super linear where it's like, okay, you got to do this, then you got to do that. It's like, no, while you're doing this, there's like 40,000 things going on around you, and it's almost like explorer's overload, but in a good way.
When you see that map for the first time and it just opens up on you, you're just like, look at all these places that I can go to.
Yeah, when you talk to people and they're like, here's a quest, here's a quest, here's a quest, here's a quest, and it's like my map is like loaded up with places to go and explore.
What faction are you interested to like learn the most about? Like the ones that you know of right now. So you got the Minutemen, you got the Brotherhood, and you got the, I guess, kind of the Institute now.
Probably. Oh God, I think right now I'm more interested to learn about the Brotherhood of Steel, since like they kind of give you the deep dive into the Minutemen like right off the bat, and you're like, okay, this is all that it is. I'm just recruiting more Minutemen.
Which kind of sounds like a very sad tale too. He's just like, hey, look what happened after I led the organization. It kind of went to shit.
Right.
Hey, do you want to take my baggage? I mean job?
Right. It's like, hey, yeah, we're a homegrown militia, and then there's like the Brotherhood of Steel. It's like, we're a real army, and you're like, I'm kind of more interested in like learning more about how you guys function, because it's like they have a purpose.
Could you imagine? I would love to see Dance and Garvey just meet up, and it's like, I have power armor. I can defend the entire wasteland. I have a laser musket. I have to charge it, otherwise it doesn't work.
I mean, if you have military friends, it's like if someone in the like army meets someone who is a Marine, like that's what it reminds me of.
For me, it's more like the guy in the Marines meets up with the Boy Scouts.
Yeah, I can see that, and it's just like one side thinks they're noble, and then the other side is just like, "Aw, you're cute."
Yeah, look at you, kiddo. It's
Yeah.
like, no, it's very important. I'm sure it is, kid.
So like, I'd say Brotherhood of Steel is probably the faction that I know about that I'm more interested in. But you know, I'm like trying to see where this game takes me.
That's a good plan.
I am the stranger in a strange land.
Oh, this is the second time you plugged that. I like that.
I know, man.
Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the show. Be sure to connect with us on Twitter at
Lore_party. Check us out on Apple Podcast. Leave a review. Follow us on Twitter. Visit our website.
You can follow Lawerence on Instagram, I hear.
Yes, at the Lawerence Kelly 21.
Ooh, nice. And I'm at Mr. JJ. All right, this has been Jaden and Lawerence. Thank you so much for listening, guys.
Bye.
Ad Victoriam.